The very same fact that, the very same requirement that was expected of Nehemiah, of being trustworthy, is the very same thing that Nehemiah expected from God when he entrusted his life to God in order to be able to put in harm's way. Now, when you have someone whom you trust, and you bring him or her very close to your life, there's a sense of safety that comes into your life. When you're next to somebody that you know you can trust, that you know that it's reliable, a person who is going to lay it all out for you, you feel safe. You feel that you're in the company of someone that brings you a sense of safety. Nehemiah brought a sense of safety to the king. Because this is a very short service, we only have an hour and a half. I'm going to have to skip over a couple of things, but I'm going to try to emphasize those that I think I will not be able to move forward unless I go over them. So as a co-parent, Nehemiah, somewhere around 465 years before Christ, he was in a privileged position. There was no mention of his wife, so it is assumed that he was not married. That he wasn't married. He was a single man. Now, he lived outside of Jerusalem. He was exiled when the Persians took over the Babylonians. So King Nebuchadnezzar was defeated, and the Persians came over and took over Jerusalem. And they expatriated. They sent a lot of people to foreign lands. But the best people, the most trusty people, the most educated people were taken by the king to serve in the king's palace. And Nehemiah was one of them. But when he hears that there are people that just went to Jerusalem and visited Jerusalem, the very first thing he does is he asks certain questions. And he says, I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that survived the exile, and also about Jerusalem. So he inquired about people that were significant to him. He inquired about his own people. Then he inquired about the city. Two elements that are very important. Every single place that we live, we're going to become associated with people. If you come to Trinity Church, you will get to know certain people. You're going to find that some of us are very enjoyable and some of us are very not enjoyable to be around. But you'll get to know people. You'll get to relate to people. You'll get to go out to lunch. Hopefully, we'll get to take you out to lunch sometime. Not all at the same time, of course. But you begin to relate to people. So you see, we are wired to be community. We can't be isolated. We have to relate to people. And Nehemiah missed his own people. He missed being in Jerusalem. And two things that really bring out, that I brought out in verse 4 is that when he said, when I heard these things, what things did he hear? Verse 3 tells us very clearly what the visitor said. Those who survive in exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The first thing that is defined or that's described is the emotional condition of the people. Remember that in verse 2, Nehemiah asks about the people, and then he asks about the city. The answer is given in the same order in which those two elements were asked. First, the response is giving up with regards to the people. Well, you know, they're in very big trouble. And they're in great disgrace. Then the second part of that verse says, and the walls. Now, they're going to describe the condition of the wall. It says, then the wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. If I ask you, when was the last time you mourned? When was the last time you wept? Or I wept? What does it mean to weep? What does it mean to be concerned? What does it mean to weep? Is it the same thing? I think that, let me describe what concern is, to be concerned. Concern includes anxiety. Concern means to be worried. Concern means to be apprehensive about a situation or person. To be concerned is to be uneasy. It's to be worried. When someone does not make it home at the expected time, you become worried. That's being concerned. When I look at Nehemiah, I ask myself, is he concerned? Or is he in anguish? Let me describe what I found anguish is. Anguish includes or involves agony, pain, torment, torture, suffering, distress, misery, sorrow, grief, heartache, desolation, despair, pain. When I look at anguish and I look at concern, they're not the same thing. You see, there are many people in the Bible that wept, as there were many people that were concerned. If we had to choose, which one would we go with? If we had to choose with regards to what does it mean for Nehemiah to be in anguish? When I look at it, verse 4, he says, and I sat down. You see, when someone sits down, it's because they're about to faint. When you feel weak or when you receive a news that really shakes you, you say, give me a chair, I need to sit down because I'm about to pass out. Is when your body does not resist the conditions of your environment. So he said, I sat down and I wept and I mourned. Immediately, I find out that Nehemiah was beyond being concerned. You see, when you're concerned about something, you may be temporarily concerned. You may be concerned about a specific situation, but you may forget about it. You may let it go. People may say, you know what, just let it go. Let it be. Move on. And then that concern turns into something else. But when you're in anguish, you're experiencing something that is beyond concern. You're experiencing pain because you have taken in that which produces anguish in your life. If God were to abandon me, not that He abandons me, but if God were to abandon you, our lives would be in anguish. We would be closer to death. If I have certain people around me, I would feel anguish, experience anguish in my life. If there are certain things that I don't get to have on a regular basis, I feel like I'm dying. If I don't pray, I feel like I'm almost might as well on the other side. I'm spiritually dead. If I don't seek God, then all I'm doing is I'm just like a symbol, just like a piece of metal making a whole bunch of noise. So concerning in our walk with Christ, in our walking, in our exercising of our faith, what does it mean to have anguish? What is it? We use terms like, oh God, I thirst for you, I hunger for you, I long for you. But what does it mean to have anguish? What does it mean that when we see something that's of need, a need in our community, a need in our community of faith, or even in the communities where we live, what does it mean? Should I be concerned about that? Or should I not be concerned about that? Most people choose not to have concern if there's no interest. If there's no, what's in it for me? Or how should it has nothing to do with me. Why should I be concerned? I don't know the person. I don't live there. I don't go there. That's not where I go shopping. That's not where I do my groceries. So I should not be concerned. You're mighty quiet today. But Nehemiah was not concerned.